Welcome back to probably, maybe, potentially the most powerful and interesting Ami Athletic podcast ever. If you're Bukharian or if you have a pulse or if you're Jewish, you should definitely watch this all the way through. Share this with your friends because, I'm not going to say why, but you'll see why very momentarily. First of all, I wanted to introduce our guest, Zach Itzik Nissanov, who many know as the Z League, Z for Zach.
The founder.
Also, Bukharian community member. Also, my cousin. Also, a lot of other things. A father, a husband, entrepreneur, community activist. But I just wanted a little bit of an introduction so the people can get to know you a little bit better, and then we will go from there.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to be here. It's a pleasure to sit with both my cousins here on this podcast. You guys are doing incredible work, influencing and affecting the community. So a little bit about myself. Born in Israel, migrated to New York. I was 9 years old. I have to say it was a...
Do you remember?
I did not know
I remember, that. Yeah, I remember it all. I remember it very clearly.
You remember being an outcast when you only spoke Hebrew and living in America?
You know, I came in and my cousin Michael and Avi, Rabbi Shlomo's brother, we came in and I transitioned very well. They made an effort to speak Hebrew. I picked up English very quickly. And it made it a very easy transition, especially a lot of our cousins. I mean, you guys were still...
I was not born yet.
You weren't even born yet?
No.
Oh, neither was Zaki. Oh, crap.
It was a different time.
Everyone
was coming in. It was a normal thing for you to know Bukhari and you don't know Russian.
70s, right?
He's not that old, bro.
No, when did you come?
No, we came down in 88.
You came in 88?
1988.
Oh, because you went to Israel first. Okay.
He was 9 years old when he came here.
Right, so my parents migrated to Israel in 72 or 73. Married in Israel, and lived in Israel until 1988. That's when we came out here. And family is one of the greatest things one can have, because we came out here. We had Uncle Isaac, your father was here, Dod Maxim. So it felt like you were home, but that's what we were used to in Israel. Everybody was just right around family. It's a Bukharian thing, you know, we try to stick with family, community, and values. So that was real nice. 9 years old, I come out to New York. A little bit, you know, school was a little bit tough at first just because of the language barrier, but we came here in March. By September, I remember myself up and going. I was ready for school. My English was pretty fluent, or, you know, good enough, and I picked it up rather quickly.
What school did you go to?
Salomon Schechter.
Oh, a lot of guys went to Salomon.
I went to Salomon Schechter right here.
How'd you like
couple
it?
Couple of
Do you
blocks
remember
away.
it at all?
I remember it very clearly. It had an Israeli touch to it. A lot of Israelis went there. Although it was a little different for me. I came to the United States and I'm not even bar mitzvah yet. We're diving there in the lunchroom or in the hall. And we're reading the Torah. Every Monday and Thursday we go and we read the Torah. Now, it came my turn to read the Torah. I'm thinking, I'm not bar mitzvah yet. Girls are reading the Torah. They're putting on talit. I'm thinking, maybe this is how they do it in America. America is different. They come and there's American. All right. I didn't know, 10 years old. They do things differently here. But it was definitely a good experience.
And then, where'd you go for high school?
I went to Ezra Academy. I bounced around a couple of high schools, actually.
Why?
Why?
He had to end up as a C student.
Why?
He told his dad, I need to be a C student.
So I could be successful.
I wasn't so into learning. So I had to come to school. It was like a pastime. So I started out in Ezra Academy. We had an incredible crew out there. And going to school was like Saved by the Bell. If anybody old enough to have watched that, it was a crew of a bunch of people. We got together. We used to enjoy. I'm sorry? I loved it. It was a family.
Okay.
It was an incredible school, great rebbeim, great teachers.
And you were there till when?
So I was there for 3 years. Well, I actually started in 8th grade, so I went there from 8th to 10th. I did a little bit in Forest Hills High School.
Okay.
I did a couple of months there. It was not for me, that environment coming from Ezra, which was warm, coming to Forest Hills, which is a big school. And whether you showed up or didn't show up, nobody really knew or cared. I was there for a couple of months. That didn't last. I was not into it at all. Then there was a school that we signed up to in Brooklyn. It was called Or Shalom. Michael was there. Avi was there. Michael, Avi, Jakes, and a couple other guys. So it was a school where we dormed and we just partied all year. We were there all year. School a little bit got in the way.
School a little bit got in the way. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that's what it was. But it was one of the greatest years of our life. So we did a year there. Then the school closed down. Then I went to Binat Chaim, where I eventually graduated from. So I did 11 months there. At that point, I was on take.
That's Rabbi Shlomo.
No, Rabbi Yeshua's.
I was Rabbi Yeshua at the time. He was Rosh Yeshiva.
And then you went after that?
After that, that was my senior year.
Right.
So we graduated after that. I took an accounting program, started working.
You didn't go to Israel?
No, I didn't do Israel.
It
was actually one of my, if I had to go back and redo it, I'd go back to Israel. My son just graduated last year, and he says, yo, should I go? I was like, hell yeah, you're going.
Why do you regret it? Because I'm saying there's a lot of, right now, okay, I just want to be specific. There's a lot of Bukharians, okay, that are watching this. Some may be already pro-Israel, and some are super against it for whatever reason. Waste of time, whatever it is, okay? So, coming from a person who's 46 years old, you have kids that are older, blah, blah, blah. Why do you regret it? And what would you tell to the Bukharian parents that say, it's a waste of time?
Until you graduate high school, you're in a frame. You always are told what to do, where to go, and how to do it. When you break out of that, when you go to Israel, you have a certain level of independence. You find yourself and you grow into yourself. You acquire a thought process that will likely guide you through life. Without anybody telling you really what to do as far as your parents. You feel that independence, and I think it's a very important growth process.
But what about the fear that Bukharian parents feel that like, what do you mean? But he's going to go and do X, Y, and Z, no supervision.
So I have a mentor, and I asked him a question once. My daughter wanted to go to a sleepaway camp. Now, as Bukharians, we don't let overnight sleepovers. You're sleeping home tonight. There's no such a thing.
We don't let them out of the house.
No. And she really wanted to go to the sleepaway camp, which I think involved some special needs. And she's Abba, can you go? I said, you know what? I'll let you know in a couple of days. A couple of days passed. She was like, Abba, can I go? And I was like, listen, I'm not ready yet. Let me think it over. And she's like, Abba, what are you thinking? Just give me that. Can I go? Please, can I go? I said, you know what? I'll call you right back. I called one of my close friends, also a mentor, and I asked him. I was like, my daughter really wants to go. He's not Bukharian. He's an Ashkenaz dude. And do I let her go? We don't let night. You're talking about a month. So he says, well, if you feel comfort and trust in the way that you rise and the way that you raised her, then you should let her go. I was like, wow. So you kind of put it on me. If I was able to raise her in a way that's responsible, that's smart, that's a good decision maker, then I should feel comfortable for her to let her go. I called her back right away. I said, you can go. She's like, what? I said, yeah, you can go. She hung up the phone because she didn't want something to change. She was like,
she was already taking
okay, thank you. Did I just hear that right? I'm going to take what I heard and I'm going to run with it. So if you feel confident in the way you raised your child and you taught him proper decision making and give him proper focus on why he's going to Israel, I think there's a lot to be gained.
But what if you? So what the rebuttal to that would be like? No, my son or my daughter is whatever. They didn't take school seriously. They party all night. Why am I sending them to Israel to just waste money?
Or they'll figure it out here.
What do you mean they'll figure?
Meaning they'll go to college. They'll be on their own. They're not in school anymore.
So you're gonna get to all that. You're gonna get to all that at one point or another, right?
Now, one second. I just want to say I agree with you. I just want to hear it from your perspective.
Right. No, this is an opportunity that you're never gonna have again in your lifetime. Before my son went, I was like, listen, keep one thing in mind. He's not a big learner. He's like more me, like when I was a child, but a little more advanced because he had me as his father, and he sees things a little bit differently. We're not immigrant parents like our parents were to us.
I mean, but that also comes as a plus and a minus, in my opinion. Meaning, I do believe that your father, being your father to you, gave you a sense of resilience, right? Your father was busy with certain things. Now, yes, there's pros and cons to that. That immigrant parents were focused on survival, and less focused on chinuch. Right? It was different priorities, where you had the luxury of not needing to focus on survival in its purest form, and you were able to focus. So with that, with your father focusing on survival and less focus on chinuch, there was a path, there was a mahalach for there to be beneficial attributes to you, whether it to be more resilient, whether it to be more self-sufficient, more independent, or whatever it is. But yeah, so
I think that the basis of Torah and that foundation is the strongest value that you can attain that will lead you through the toughest moments and the best moments in life, to give you the best strength and the best resilience through difficulties. And it also will make the good times a lot better. It gives you a certain thought structure. And as we get older, we find how much more important really a life of Torah is. Before my son went to Israel, I said to him like this. Again, he's not a learner. I said to him, this is an opportunity. It may be the only opportunity in your life that you're ever going to have the ability or the surrounding to sit down and learn. And set that foundation up really for the rest of your life. I'm not thinking that you're going to sit down and learn for 6 hours a day, but just to recognize that structure, to recognize that you have the ability to sit down and have and show an importance of what Torah is and what it gives you through life. The more and the older and the more experience you get, you value it that much more. So with our vision now, being that we're older, we're the parent, we went through a certain portion of life already, and we see the value in that. You want to put as much of that value as you can into your child.
It's also difficult.
You're setting it up with the proper tools to have success in life on many different levels.
It's also, it's adding to that, it's very difficult when you have, all around us, pretty much, any normal 17 to 50-year-old the day revolves around money to a large degree, right? How do I make more money? How do I increase my revenue? How do I gain more sales, or et cetera, et cetera? And something that I remember when going to Israel, and it's a little bit of an extreme maybe, but it kind of opens up your eyes. The amount of emphasis there on making money and that as a lifestyle, it isn't really there. So you can have a young kid today, 17, 18 years old, leaves school. His eyes are more, I need to make money. I need to make money. How do I be rich? How do I? You watch all these influencers on social media, online, YouTube. Patrick Bet David, etc. All these guys, and it's just like your life's accomplishments depend on how much money you make. And when you make a lot of money, the next thing should be, how do I make more? That is the goal in life. Until you become old and realize, what am I left with? So something that Israel provides, which is you're able to take a step back and realize, hey, you know what? There's so much more, and you can start connecting with that. Just the atmosphere, it's so different that once you're there, you're able to kind of channel that, and it's able to, and like you said, you don't have to learn all day. That's not necessarily, again, everyone's on their own level. But a lot of people end up leaving after 2 or 3 years learning all day. They something switches on them, and they start realizing, hey, you know what? This is what I want to do because this is what's important. And then you come back here and you're like, oh, you go to a wedding. This guy didn't serve lamb chops, and it's just like
that's just not true.
and then the flowers. I'm putting 300 for a seat. I'm putting 2. Things just start changing, and then your appreciation for your goal becomes way different in this environment.
So I got the Israel part. So now you told your son to go to Israel. He goes. So now I just want to understand. You went from your Binat Chaim, you went to college. At one point, did you consciously start dating for marriage, or was it something that after you dated and then you were dating a girl and you eventually got married?
I'll touch on that one more second. I just wanted to add one more thing that's crucial. I wanted my boys and all my children actually to have a love for the land of Israel, because at one point or the other we'll have some kind of connection there. Lo alenu, after 120 years, we want to be buried where? Everybody to a certain degree wants to be in Israel, and you got to create that love for it. So that's why, that's also part of the reason that I wanted to go. And he came back and he loved Israel, and he wants to go back now, or he's thinking about going back. And I said, listen, you're fun. You want to go back? If you can commit to 4 to 6 hours of learning every day, because you had your party, you partied for a year, you enjoyed yourself, you got the understanding of it. You want to go back and learn and sit down, go. But then back to Zaki's point, at that point, he's already done. Come focus on work and building yourself up. Did I consciously?
You'd be surprised. In Mikdash, in the second year, a lot of guys flip a switch. They go to Possibly. 10 hours a day, black hat.
Possibly, but you had your chance. Now you have to come here and focus on different things and build yourself up.
So afterward.
As far as dating,
yes.
I didn't date for marriage, although I had a voice that was always behind me, like, hey, what's going on? Are you dating? You got to get married.
Where did that voice come from?
That was Maxim. That was my uncle Maxim, Zaki's father. So he was
I
a
feel
great.
like he was the moral conscious in your family.
Yes,
You know, like,
yes.
He was. He's a great
Like
role
when my
model.
dad opened his mouth, they were all like,
When
but,
all
like, they
the cousins,
respected
when
it.
all the cousins were sleeping, you, Egal, everyone was sleeping. They just heard Maxine get married.
Yeah.
Davin in the morning.
Yeah. So that was that. It was in my mind for those reasons. I wasn't ready for it. I was one of the first guys like within the crew to get married. You know, Michael's an exception because he was like 16. Sorry, Mike.
Weren't you 25 when you got married?
I was 23. I was 23.
Saying, what,
I made a
That's
mistake.
not that young.
it's
but
not that. It's not
no.
that old.
That's average.
Now it's average, but whatever. Okay, so how did walk me through this process?
How'd you meet your wife?
So we met on a birthright trip. We went on birthright that I wasn't even supposed to go on. That's because I've been to Israel before. And
Well, you lived in Israel.
well, I lived in Israel, no, but I was on a birthright trip the year before. Now,
He went from Itzik to Zach.
my neighbor Mazal was preparing a trip. She worked for some Sephardic organization, and she was preparing a birthright Israel trip. And I said, "Yo, put me in." And she's like, "No, you've been there already. I can't put you in. That's not right." I was like, "Yo, come on, we're close. Yeah, just put me in." And she says, "No, I can't. These are the rules." And she wanted to stick to the rules, which I can respect, but it was what it was. About 2 weeks before the trip, I get a call. And she's like, "Listen, do you still want to go on that trip?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in." I'm like, "What happened?" She said, "Well, a lot of people canceled. This is when the Intifada in Israel
Oh wow.
started.
Okay.
So a lot of people canceled, and they didn't want to cancel the trip. And if they didn't have enough numbers,
They have to cancel the trip.
they got to cancel the trip." So I was like, "Yeah, man. Free trip to Israel."
You weren't scared. Intifada. Your parents weren't scared.
No, so I was very independent. And my parents were not as much on top of me. Like if I wanted to do something, I just went with it, and they were somewhat supportive.
Somewhat.
Well, sometimes, it's a Bukharian guilt. Hey, what are you doing? Where are you going? Balagan, is this there? But we had family there. So it's like they're living there. I want to go. Okay, so we went. She had the same situation on her side where they didn't accept her at first, and then they called her back a couple of weeks later. They still want to go. So we went. She was not religious at the time at all, and she had a curiosity about Judaism. And she comes from Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is not as rich with Jews or community like we have here. It's
She didn't know what
completely different.
Bukharians were
No, she didn't know what Bukharians were.
yet.
She was in for a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if anybody embraces it, it's Siggy. Siggy is more Bukharian than any of our wives.
That's true.
And most of our guys in that generation, she teaches me stuff in Bukharian. I'm like, "Yeah, where do you come?" But she loves it. She loves the culture. She loves the tradition. So we went to Israel.
what clicked for you guys? Meaning, and I want to be more specific in my question. Obviously, there's a very natural between a guy, a girl. You have chemistry and blah blah blah. But like in terms of marriage, from a Bukharian standpoint, it's a big culture shock to really date for out of our culture for marriage. So first of all, what was the chemistry that clicked? And second of all, I believe that there was a certain amount of intense chemistry that was able to really break through that cultural barrier.
Yeah. So she had a very positive outlook on life, and I loved it. She was always smiling. This is it was something that I just enjoyed, and I couldn't get enough of. I mean, we had a click, and we just wanted to spend every moment together. It felt very natural, to the point that when we came back from Israel, we had an amazing time, very, very bonding time, as you can imagine. When we came back, I was thinking to myself, it's over. It's Philadelphia, it's New York, a long-distance relationship. How can this even work? That's not something I'm interested in. She's not Bukharian, meaning this is not something that's going to work.
Was your father against it?
He never spoke against it.
Really?
Never. He
I
never
don't
once
believe
spoke.
you.
That's
never
crazy.
once spoke against it.
Did Maxim say anything? Your uncle?
No, nobody ever spoke against it. My mother,
Interesting.
when my mother met her, she loved her.
Did you hide this for a few months? Or right away you came out with, "Hey, I'm dating someone"?
As soon as we came back from Israel.
Yeah. There's no way you said it right away. There's no way.
No.
I know your dad, and I know my dad, and there's no way they were cool with it off the bat.
No. They
Listen,
were not.
even when I dated my wife and she was Persian, I look at my dad, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to go out with a Persian girl." And I never dated anyone. He looks at me, he's like, there's no Bukharians? And I'm like, there are, but she's a great girl. I'm going to go for it. And it was just like, I had to kind of like, ease him in that like, it's not the end of the world, What you did is way worse.
Yeah.
Right? It gets even crazier. It gets even freaking. I dated other girls before. So it wasn't the first girl I was dating. I wasn't dating for marriage. I mean, grew up a little bit more in a co-ed environment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we were dating for about 6 months, maybe before my parents even knew, maybe 5-6 months. But again, it was a long distance relationship, so it was more on the phone. We didn't really see each other as much. Comes down to the birthright trip was in January. This comes down to June. She had her graduation. She graduated from college. She's a teacher.
My teacher.
Oh,
My teacher.
that's right.
Yes.
That's right.
She wasn't always fun and smiles when she was my teacher, but that's my fault. But it was an interesting opportunity. But yeah.
So she graduated college. She's about to sign a contract for a school out in Jersey or South Jersey, right there next to Philly, which was right up her alley. She goes in and she comes out. She's like, listen, I'm going to go sign the contract. I have this incredible offer. And I was like, what is this contract about? I was like, what does that bound you to? She's like, well, I'm going to be here for the year. I'm thinking, a year, long distance relationship. I was like, listen, it's not for me. I was like, we can't progress our relationship if you sign for another year. She said, what do you want me to do? I said, why don't you move to New York? And she's like, okay.
Wow.
I don't know what caused me to say that or where that came from or what. I didn't even know what I was putting myself into. It just felt like the right thing to say at that point in time. She calls her mom. She's like, listen, I'm moving to New York. She's like, what are you talking about? It's like, oh, I'm dating this guy. She's like, okay, go. And she said it was just very seamless. It just flowed.
Where did she live?
So she came out to New York. We got an apartment that was a few doors down from where my parents lived. But it took some time to repair it, and we did some reno, some paint. So until that apartment was done, she was rooming with my sister. I don't even know if I should say this out loud, but this like we were living in the same house. Now again, we're dealing with a Bukharian family. This is something that is on. I mean, I'm repeating this, and it sounds crazy. So she's rooming with my sister. I'm there. We get her this apartment, and before the apartment was even ready, over the holiday, there was some kind of a leak that just flooded the whole apartment. We had to redo everything. And my dad comes over to me. He was like, listen, you're paying for this apartment there for no reason. She's already here. Just let her stay here. Just give it up. I was like, what? Did I just hear that right? And he's like, yeah, just give it up. She's here. You're wasting money for no reason. I said, okay. It's coming from my dad. I can't really. A few months later, yet again, shit, man, can I even say this? There's another birthright trip.
Okay.
And I signed up and figured, if they need numbers, be able to go. So
Third time.
My third time, yeah. So now they call me up like, listen, do you want to go? I said, yeah, I'm in. Trip to Israel, that's better than that. So before I go, I'm thinking, hang on a second. I'm leaving this girl here with my parents. And I'm leaving. I was like, this is awkward. I was like, what am I doing? So your dad comes over to me and was like, listen, what's going on? What are we doing here? I said, you know what? I got to propose. So I went. I proposed. It was December 27th. I proposed on December 27th.
Is that Christmas?
2 days after his birthday.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
December 27th, which I think was my in-laws' anniversary date, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So I proposed. It was Thursday night, December 27th. On Sunday morning, I was flying to Israel. I flew to Israel. I landed. I called my parents. It was a thing you do. You call your parents right away. I landed. I was like, oh, by the way, you're getting married on February 24th in Leonard's. Mazal Tov. Enjoy your trip. I was like, wow, it's quick, man. February 24th. That's like 2 months. Everything was moving quick. But again, it felt natural. It felt good.
Were you scared?
No.
I'm saying, people, when they get married, it's the biggest decision of your life. Was there a little bit of fear? Like,
At that time, I felt very comfortable with the decision.
Okay.
And the older you get, I think that's what they say, get married early, because the more you know, the more difficult that decision becomes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
And you learn to make it work. You learn to make it work at first, as long as your mind is in the right place and you're looking to build a family.
So I just want to fast forward a little bit. Now that you're married for X amount of 20 whatever something years, what do you think what was the biggest culture shock for you, or the biggest differences? And I just want to share actually a very funny story that really highlights you. I remember I was sitting there. This is September 11th. I was sitting in my class. I was in 5th grade, and she's like, "Okay, guys, we're gonna all write letters to my husband." Because I think you weren't feeling well at the time, but also she said a story about how you were supposed to be there on September 11th in the Twin Towers. And we all 20 5th graders wrote letters to my teacher's husband. I'm writing a letter to Itzi, like, "Hey man, thanks for being alive," But honestly, that was crazy. This is just a memory that just came up that you were literally supposed to be there, but your alarm clock didn't go off.
Yeah, it was a little more involved in that. So Siggy moved into New York. That was right when she moved in. She moved in a week before, on September 5th or 6th. And September 11th was just a week later. So she had some project that she had to do for school. We were at the night before. The printer that we had or we didn't have wasn't working. We went to my cousin Casper's house. He had a printer there. We hung out, and I was like, "Listen, just get the stuff done. I got to go to, we got to go to bed. We have slichot in the morning, and I got to be at work early." I was working at the World Trade Center, One World Trade on the 46th floor, company called View Trade Securities. At the time, I was dealing with institutional banks in Europe, actually. So I had to be there early, around 7:30, between 7:30 and 8 o'clock, to take, the day's orders. We got back, and again, we were in the same house, right? So we got back at around 1 o'clock in the morning. And slichot is around 6 o'clock. And then by 7 o'clock, I'd be out. I'd be there around 7:30, 7:45. So I told Siggy, I was like, "Listen, I'm not setting the alarm. This is on you. Make sure I'm up tomorrow morning." She's like, "Okay, I got you, no problem." We go to bed. I wake up, and I'm looking at the clock. It's like 8:36. I'm like, "Damn, it's late." I call up the office. I was like, "Guys, listen, I'm going to be a little bit late. I'll see you a little bit later." And I go to Siggy. I was like, "What's going on here? You're supposed to wake me up, Of course, her fault. Minutes later, one of our friends, she calls me up and she's like, "Run out. Are you okay? What's going on?" Thinking that I'm there. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." She's like, "Where are you?" I was like, "I'm at home. What's going on?" She's like, "Oh my God, plane, this and that." I remember putting on the TV, putting on CNBC, and as soon as they put it on, we saw that second plane hit.
And you're like, "Huh, I was supposed to be there."
So at this point, Siggy's next to me, and I'm looking at that. I was like, "Man, there's a terrorist attack, man. We're being attacked right now."
Did people in your office make it out?
Everybody made it out. So we were in One World Trade. Oh, you want to hear a crazier story? We were in One World Trade, and we were on the 46th floor. We had two offices in the building. One was on 78, one was on 46. And in July of 2001, we were going to consolidate to one of the two offices. Either 46 goes to 78 or 78 goes to 46. And for some odd reason, we decided to go from 78 to 46, which is the smaller space. I'm not exactly sure what went behind the scene, but that's the move that they made. That first plane, when it hit right in that 78 to 80th floor. And that place was not yet rented at the time, when 9/11 happened. So majority of that floor was still empty. But it could have very well been that we would have been there on that 78th floor. So that was fortunate.
Very lucky.
That was fortunate enough. And because the strike or the hit was above where the office was, everybody in the office was able to make it out.
Oh, wow.
So
a lot of the people was able to get
everybody out. That I know made it out.
Wow.
Was able to come out.
Wow. So now that's that story. Now I just wanted to move back to our original question of what cultural differences do you feel like there are? Like, did you feel the cultural differences marrying Ashkenaz, number one? And number two is, for your kids, would you recommend them, or what advice would you give your kids in terms of who to get married to?
So it wasn't much of a cultural difference, as Rabbi Nissanov always says our family is very dominant. And when we marry, usually they come into us just because we constantly have family events, family occasions. So Siggy took on to our culture, and she took on to it very well.
do you believe that she was the minority in that sense? Meaning, like, most girls are like her, or most girls are not like her in that sense?
I think it'd be very intimidating. And she embraced it. I don't think most people would embrace it on that same level.
Okay.
She enjoyed it. She appreciated it. She appreciated it more than we did. You know, we growing up as Bukharians at one point, we're like, I don't know. You know, I was born here. I'm American. I'm Israeli. I'm half Bukharian.
I speak Hebrew. I speak Hebrew.
You know, so, but she was like, yeah, I love this stuff. And when you ask my wife that exact question, again, Ashkenaz, coming from a different world, what would you want your kids to marry? She's a Bukharian.
Wow.
There's no question about it. I love nowhere else is offered what we have within the Bukharian community. That unity, that love, that warmth. You can go anywhere in the world, and if you see a Jew, there's a connection. There is an hello, there's direction.
It's for all Jews, but you're saying specifically for Bukharians.
Right. You go to Russia right now and you see a Jew in Russia, he'll tell you what to do, where to go, if you need help. If you see a Bukharian, you're at his house for dinner, you have a place to sleep.
Yeah. Very hospitable.
Very hospitable. That's
I mean, it's second to none in my opinion. I've never seen any hospitability.
Hospitability.
On the same level as Bukharians have it. So,
Especially when we immigrated. I mean, people were living in people's houses for years with their whole family. My dad told me he was the last person to live in his house. You know this?
Wow.
He bought his house.
That's right.
He bought his house, and then either you came or someone else came. And three of his other brothers came.
Our family.
And they were married, so he had to live in his own basement. And they all lived in the house until finally he got married and had one kid, and is like, "Yo, I need my house back."
That's right.
That's crazy.
With Bukharians, that's crazy.
So, what advice would you give your kids?
I mean, our first desire rather is that they do date and marry Bukharian. That's our direction. At the same time, you can't force it. You got to let things go natural and feel where they have that connection. I think ultimately the culture that we have and that we grew in will bring them in. You know, when the time comes, whoever it is, they'll bring in, and they'll love it as much as we do.
So now you have your kids, you have your business, you're established. Okay, so now let's fast forward a little bit. You live in Queens all your life. You're a proud Bukharian. You have strong family ties. Okay, now you make another extremely unorthodox move, which apparently is part of your personality at this point. You move to Florida. You pick up, leave the community, and you move to Florida. How the heck did you get to that decision? Because it's a big decision to make, to leave the community. You're a person who prides yourself on unity, or listening to a song on the way here about unity. So you literally uprooted your entire family, moved to Florida. It seems like a very intense decision. How did that come about? Are you happy with it? What are the downsides? What are the upsides?
Loaded question, man.
We only ask loaded questions.
I love it. First time I went to Florida was 1999. I was 18, 19 years old. I went out there and I thought, wow, this place is freaking amazing. Now, this has been in New York, not really going anywhere else other than Israel. And I really enjoyed it. I came back very excited. I spoke to our cousin Baruch, who's like an older brother to me. I was like, yeah, I was just in Florida and I saw that. And he goes like, relax yourself. You know, you got to land. Come back to life.
This seed started in 1999?
Yeah.
That you were like, I want to live in Florida?
Yeah.
Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah,
okay.
I absolutely loved it. And I said, if you can live like this, in this type of environment, why be anywhere else?
Okay.
That was just my outlook. So I came back with that energy. And a lot of people really, put that fire out. Like, yeah, that's vacation, that's different, that's not life. You know, you got to come to reality. You got family, you got work, you got this, you got that, you got to be. I was like, okay. At that point, I was going to Florida, any opportunity I got.
For vacation?
Or just to get away. Any opportunity I got, anytime I had time off, I would go out there. So
when did this actually actualize? Of like, all right, like, I'm not just going for vacation anymore. I'm going to look for a house. What was the turning point?
So at COVID, when COVID happened, we went out to Florida. We rented a house in Champions Gate. And at that point, we didn't know whether the next school year will be in class or still be via Zoom like it all was. So we hung out there, and they said that it may come through Zoom. We may start the new year with Zoom again. So I looked at my wife. I looked at the kids, and I said, maybe we should just stay. Maybe we should just stay in Florida if this is the case. And that's when we started entertaining it. That's when we started entertaining it. Like, maybe.
And she was on board right away. Like, yeah, let's move to Florida.
At that point, I said to myself, within the next 10 years, I'm moving to Florida.
Wow.
At that point. Or actually before that. COVID expedited that.
Okay. Oh, so you already wanted to move to Florida before them, meaning you already made the decision to move to Florida and COVID expedited that.
The decision to move to Florida was about 7 to 10 years ahead.
Why Florida?
Florida's a hub. Florida's a hub. We always have people come into Florida. As far as family is concerned, I'm very into family. We have...
That's the part that's a paradox for me. You say, I'm into family, I'm into family, and then you uproot yourself and move to Florida, which to date has 2 Nissanov families there.
Correct.
Whatever, 2 families, so it's a little bit of a paradox for me. You're going to have to walk me through this.
I had a feel, and that desire, which is a God-given feel, is what do you want to do? We often have to sit ourselves and ask ourselves a question. What do you feel good? Because when you're at your best, when you feel your best, you perform your best. And it's been in my heart and my desire to move to Florida for some time. I like the environment. I like the weather. I like the energy there. I feel good.
Okay.
And I asked myself that question. Do I want to go there? Do I want to be there? Do I see myself being there? Am I uprooting myself? So I didn't see it as uprooting myself. I said, it's a 2.5-hour flight. We can be here at any event that we choose to be. Anytime we want to be with family, it's there. In addition, everybody within the family travels to Florida. It's a quick destination. It's an easy destination. In the summer, in the wintertime, it's always good to go. Everybody always goes to Florida.
How long are you living there?
3 years now.
3 years. So what has the first 3 years been like?
So the first 3 years have been a bit chaotic.
Why?
I went through a personal experience, soon after we moved there.
You wanna tell us what experience? If you're comfortable. I'm known for asking very personal questions.
So as soon as we moved there, I went through a health challenge. I was going through a stressful period in my life. I went through a health challenge. I got a diagnosis, and that kept me. It threw things in for a loop a little bit.
Hey, can you want to expound on that?
Yeah. It was just a pressure time in history in my life,
Okay.
and maybe I didn't internalize it the right way, and the stress got to me. I started feeling uncomfortable a little bit, like my lower abdomen was not feeling well.
So you believe that your diagnosis was a direct response to stress?
100%.
That's 100%. That's a crazy statement, because are you comfortable sharing the diagnosis?
Yeah. So I wasn't feeling well for a little bit of time. I called up my trainer in Israel, Gabi Michaeli. I called him up. I said, listen, I'm experiencing certain symptoms. He says, you got to get blood work. I went out to our own Dr. Bennett out here. I got some blood work done. I sent him the results. And he says to me, you got to get a colonoscopy done ASAP. Now, he didn't alert me, but he's just, schedule yourself for a colonoscopy. I scheduled myself for a colonoscopy, and I'm not feeling well. I know something's wrong, but I'm in good health, meaning I train. I'm a happy guy by nature. I eat well. I get this diagnosis done. I get this colonoscopy done.
What was going through your head when you were getting this colonoscopy?
Just needs to get done.
You weren't scared?
No.
Wow.
I wasn't scared.
Okay.
I wasn't scared. I knew there was something wrong.
Okay.
I felt that there was something wrong.
Okay.
I feel that one is the best doctor for his own body. And I felt that, and I'm very in tune with it.
Okay, so you get the colonoscopy.
I get this colonoscopy done. I wake up from anesthesia, which felt like, one of the best sleeps you ever had.
Yes.
That's the best
I
thing.
wake up. My mom is there. I'm looking up at the doctor. And he looks down at me and he says, hey, you have cancer.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Just like that. As soon as I woke up, it was maybe 30 seconds into me waking up. I look up. I was like, yeah, you have this is what I do. I didn't feel like there was a lot of sympathy. Not that I was expecting it, but this is the guy's job. So
I mean, at least it's better than the David Koptiev was sitting here last week was saying he got a text message like, hey,
In Hershey Park.
In Hershey Park. So I guess this is an upgrade. But any doctor out there listening, if you're an oncologist, please just be a little bit more sympathetic.
yeah, it was.
So what was going through your head? I mean, you were still coming back from the anesthesia, so you probably weren't in your right mind.
And I'm thinking, wait, how do you check? How do you no biopsy, no checking, no lab, no this, no that? He told me right. He goes, like, yeah. I mean, it was so evident that that's what it was, that he was able to tell me right then and there because he was so sure.
What stage was it?
So at that point, you don't really know the stage.
Okay.
What was going on in my mind was, okay, it is what it is. It's the human body. I felt that there was something wrong. If that's what it is, the human body's there and I'll beat it.
One second. What made you so confident that you would beat it?
So 15 years prior, my mother went through a similar situation. And when we went in, after she had her surgery done, we went into an oncologist. At that point in my life, everything the doctor said, the doctors were some kind of whiz. They knew something that we didn't know. They went through medical school, they have experience and so on. And whatever they say, they know better than us, right?
Yeah.
So I went with my mother to an oncologist after the situation, and the oncologist prescribed chemotherapy, which is a life-altering treatment, like it was Tylenol. I was very put off by that, to the point that I told my mom, I was like, let's get up, let's get out of here. And I didn't even know what prompted me to go to this doctor visit just because I hate hospitals, I hate doctors, I try to avoid them at all costs. I said, Mom, we got to get out of here. At that point, I started researching heavy on what this disease is about and how to properly treat it.
Did she do chemo?
She did a few sessions of chemo against my direction and against my will. But it was ultimately her decision to make. She didn't go full course with what they recommended, but at one point she started to see the truth.
And 1 second, so okay, pause. Did you do chemo?
No, not at all.
1 second, that's a crazy thing to say. I'm saying, okay, I just want to paint a picture for everybody listening because I want to paint a picture that's going on in my head. You get the diagnosis, you have the oncologist and everyone telling you, okay, the doctors, the people with the degrees on the wall saying, all right, you have this disease, here's how we fix it. Now, we already established that you're a very passionate, intense trailblazer, very intense personality, but your life is on the line and you still chose to go with what you felt is right and not do the chemo, which is, it's almost, it's I don't know, it's a lot of words, but in one word, it's crazy. Okay, it's crazy, not in the bad sense. It's crazy in that your conviction and your willpower is unprecedented, that you are so confident in yourself that you will tell the person who went to school for 12 years for this, like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to trust myself and my own research and not do what you tell me to do and not go with what you tell me. And you took a risk, and it's funny. It's easy to talk when you have no skin in the game. You know, it's easy to be an armchair warrior when you're sitting there. Oh, LeBron should have taken this, or blah blah blah. LeBron should be doing this. LeBron should be doing that, because you have no skin in the game. But when the skin in the game is your life, people, I would say 99.9, but I'm sure there's some statistic out there. 99.9% of people crumble and fall like a house of cards. So where the hell did you get this passion, willpower, confidence from? Of like, I'm going to do what I know is right for me.
When my mom was going through her situation, I was with her along the way. And it was very painful. It was something very painful to go through. To see her go through that pain, through the chemo, through the surgeries. And, well, I often said, you know, when you see your loved one in pain, you want to take that pain away.
It's interesting because David Koptiev said the same exact thing about this. Said the same exact, like you just want to, you want to be there instead of them.
You want to be there instead. I said, if I could just take your pain away. I was like, why didn't God give this to me? I can get through it. And this is all internal conversation. I never really said this out loud. But there was a thought in my mind at the time that I can handle this. I can overcome this. And at that point, I'd done a lot of research on what it takes to get over from an holistic standpoint. We say words have power, but thoughts have incredible power as well. Again, this is just a thought that I have in my mind. And then, 15 years later, I'm facing a very similar situation. And I said, okay, you asked for it. Here it is. What are you going to do? So I took all the research and everything that I learned. And obviously, at that point, I took a deeper dive into how to overcome this in a natural way. And there was a lot more advancements and how to approach it. I checked myself into Hippocrates Wellness Center out in Palm Beach, which has an holistic approach to heal the body. What I'm going to say is like this. Ultimately, any approach you decide to take will work for you. The difference is your belief. If you believe that the holistic approach will work for you and you have complete certainty that it will, then it will. If you don't believe in it and you have a bridge in that belief and you're not 100% certain, so let me try it, you're risking your life. At the same time, if you believe in chemo and you say, oh, this is the regimen, this is what I need to do to get better and to heal, and you believe that that's going to heal you, then that will work for you. The placebo effect. It all depends on the level of certainty that you have. Now, I believe in the power of the mind. And if your mind is convinced that that is your reality, that will be your reality. What gave me a lot of strength was there's a book that I read. It's called The Genie Within. And he brings an example of a person with multiple personalities. When one personality has the disease, I don't like to even say this name to give it any more credit than it deserves. And one personality doesn't. Which means if you can get your mind to that state where it has that much power over your body, your mind can heal your body. You just have to have that level of certainty. When you switch personalities, you're 100% that person. And when you're 100% that person is healthy. There's nothing
This is
wrong.
the same person when he has multiple personality disorder, right? That's what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when he's in one personality, they found something in him. And when it switched to his other personality, they saw that it was gone.
Yeah.
That's
What?
crazy.
It's that powerful.
That's
The
crazy.
Genie Within by Henry
So I
Carpenter.
have another question for you. What was it like, telling your kids, your wife, like, how did they react? What was the conversations like in the home?
I downplayed it initially. Like in my mind, I had to focus and just get it done. And the kids saw, I believe they saw the strength in me. My wife also, I don't believe she made it into a big deal. Like the understanding was, he'll get through this. I actually had a crazy situation. I went to see a hypnotist before I even knew about the situation, but I was feeling, before the diagnosis, but I was feeling uncomfortable. It was a rabbi. And he looked at my hand and he says, I see that you had a tragedy in your life or some tragic health situation that you overcame. And I looked at him and I said, no. And he says, are you sure? I was like, I see it pretty clear. I said, no. He says, maybe when you were a kid? I said, no. After the situation happened, he called me up and he says, remember what we spoke about?
And he
And I
was
said,
able to
yeah.
see that from your palm?
He was able to see that from my palm. It was something incredible.
Yo, there's a lot in this world that's much more than face value, bro.
Yeah.
It's a whole
What
lot.
he told me was what was reassuring and encouraging. What he told me was, it was like, it was in the past, which means you got through it. So you're going through this now. Don't worry about it. You'll get through it. And he gave me that.
Wow.
He gave me that confidence. Now,
1 second. So can I ask you what? I have like 100 questions, but we're gonna go one at a time. What holistic approach did you take? You're saying holistic approach. You didn't do the chemo, which the doctor probably thought you're crazy.
Yeah.
He probably made fun of you a lot. Like, you're crazy. You're an Orthodox Jew who's like, you lost it a little bit. All right, go, like, dig your own grave. I'm sure he thought something like that, and you're like, I'll see you in 40 years.
So yeah, I'm a little bit unconventional in that approach. I went to the doctor. I was like, listen, this is where my mind is. This is what I want to do. And if I do what I want to do, my chances of getting better are good. I know that ultimately God makes those decisions on whether we live or whether we'll die. We just have to do our best.
Okay.
So I took that approach. So I checked into this holistic center out in West Palm Beach, where all they give you is plant-based diet. They put your mind in a good mindset, a positive and a happy mindset. And through mental therapy, relaxation, and a good state of mind and a proper diet, that will promote your body to heal itself. So I resonated with that idea, and I consulted one of my good friends who's a doctor, and he says, you know what? Why don't you go out there? We'll go 30 days, because at this point they're pushing me to do the surgery. And I didn't want to do surgery. I was against the surgery. I said the body.
So you didn't do chemo. You don't want to do the surgery either.
I don't want to do the surgery, and I don't want to.
You don't want them to touch you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the body can heal itself. This is where my mindset is. So I go into this place, and I'm about a couple of days in, and I'm liking it, and it's a little bit intense, but I'm appreciating what they're offering, and I believe in it, which is the biggest thing. About a week and a half in, I have a situation where I'm having like heavy constipation. Like, I can't go. Turns out I took some more iron than I should have, and for a week I can't go. I'm in excruciating pain a week later. We speak to the doctor. They're like, listen, I know you don't like doctors. It's not really up to you. You got to go to the hospital now.
Your friend took you, no?
No. We
Later?
had a tzala actually come.
So when did Shlomi take you?
No. Shlomi didn't take me.
No, that was in the hospital, right? When you didn't want to get the surgery and they forced you to take the surgery.
Yes,
And
correct.
Shlomi, they pushed you to do it or something.
So this is where things kind of turn.
At any point in this process, because I know it's about to hit a turbulent process, at any point in this process, did you start to lose confidence or hope in yourself?
No, my mind was strong.
That is a crazy thing to say.
My mind was
I'm
strong.
saying because like it's easy to say like, all right, it's going, but now you hit a brick wall, and now not only are the doctors saying you're crazy, but your body's saying like, hey, I need something, and your mind is just saying like, yo, override.
Pretty much.
And like I said, you're not just you're betting with your life. So
Yeah.
I don't know what the heck is behind that forehead, but it's it's unnatural. It's very unnatural. But yeah, keep going.
So we go to the hospital. It was a Friday night, and we tell me, you know what the situation is. I was in excruciating pain. They gave me morphine right away. That night was a very, very difficult night. But we got through the night, and then we went into something that was supposed to be a simple procedure where they put in a stent just to give me some to be able to release. As I'm there, after I get my anesthesia, I remember getting my anesthesia. I made a list on my phone, and I told my wife, if anything should happen, just jump into that first note. That way, everything that I have open or anything that needs to be addressed, everything is there.
What is that? What do you mean?
A list of
Questions for the doctor, or like your
No,
will?
not question, just life. Just life. If anything happens to me that I'm not able to attend, open business, open matters that we have, all the information is there.
So you basically were preparing her in case.
In the event of, I was preparing. Now, that's not really my mindset.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's
It's not my mindset and approach, but I thought maybe that's the responsible thing to do.
Okay.
So I did that, and I just put it there. I remember saying Shema Israel was the last thing I said, which is also odd, thinking back. I remember saying Shema Israel, and then I got the anesthesia, and that was it. What's supposed to be a 30-minute procedure on Shabbat is going into 2 hours, and 3 hours, and 4 hours. Now, my wife is there, and it's Shabbat, so she has no phone, there's no contact.
What was going through her head?
She was starting to get worried, coming in.
Only starting now?
Well, no, she was getting worried. I wish she was here. She can tell you that part of it. I didn't get into a lot of detail there. But several hours go by, and she's not getting any information. She doesn't know what's going on. So she's very worried, needless to say. It turns out, while they were doing the procedure, I aspirated on the table.
What does that mean?
It means that you throw up,
Okay.
but you're unconscious.
Okay.
So all that,
You choke on it or something.
it goes into your lungs.
Okay.
And it's called something called fecal pneumonia. We were very fortunate that when that happened, our cousin Yuda Fuzailov, Simcha's son, he was there, and he's a lung specialist apparently. So when he came and he saw this, he says, "Guys, get out of the way. This is my cousin. Let me jump in. Let me do this." So he went in and they try to vacuum out all, clean out, take everything back out of the lungs to save my life at that point. They were able to get most of it out. Whatever they couldn't, they put a tube in me that maybe would suck it out. I have no recollection of that moment or time in my life. I was completely unconscious. I woke up.
What's it like talking about it? Like, what do you feel?
It's something real. It's something that happened. You have to accept it and move on from it.
But what emotions come up when you talk about it?
It's a little bit scary that you have 2 days of your life that's completely unaccounted for.
Okay.
So they put me on a ventilator, and I woke up 2 days later on a ventilator. And now I'm starting to get my vision back, my mind back. I'm like, "Yo, where am I? What am I doing here? What happened?" And I'm starting to get my memory back. And the last thing I said, remember, I went in for this procedure. I said Shema Israel, and now something must have gone wrong. And I didn't know.
You knew a lot of time took place?
No.
Okay, you don't know. You
I
just
didn't know.
woke up and you're looking around. Okay.
Yes, I wake up 2 days later, and I didn't know it was 2 days later. It could have been half an hour later.
Yeah, right.
But I'm on a ventilator, which was probably one of the worst torturous things that one can ever experience in his life. Wow, I mean, people went through that in COVID, and I think that on its own
It's hell.
was hell. It was a very, very intense situation. I later understood that my wife on Saturday night, Sigi was in the room, and she was booking flights for my parents to come down. As soon as she booked tickets, she said I had a bunch of doctors walk into the room, and it was a little bit of a frantic situation where she told me this, after the fact, that my blood pressure was 59/30, and everything was just looking down. Everything was not looking good. She said she booked the tickets and she prayed that night that I should just make the night so my mother can come and see me before something should happen. I didn't know that was the situation. I mean, I was unconscious. I was knocked out, but it was there. That was very. I mean, in hindsight, that was very emotional to hear. As soon as they took the ventilator out, then they came in and they're like, "Listen, you're going in for surgery tomorrow." And I said, I don't want to do surgery. I'm still sticking to my route. I have a plan. I still want to do that. And there was a lot of pressure from the doctors, a lot of pressure from the nurses, and a lot of pressure from the family. Like, "Yo, get this done. Just get it out." But the turning point for me at that point was one of the nurses came in and she said, "Listen, what you went through right now is 10 times worse than what the surgery is. You might as well bundle all that together and just have one recovery instead of potentially doing this in the future." So you know what, that makes sense. If I'm already recovering and I was depleted completely, I had no energy, no power, I couldn't move after the situation. I remember they gave me the form that you got to sign, and I had a huge pause. Sigi was telling me that she was very nervous because she wasn't sure that I was going to sign it because she knew I was against it. But I eventually signed it and I went through the surgery. I was in the hospital for 12 days. I lost, at that point, about 35 pounds. I was about a little over 100 pounds. Lost a lot of weight.
What was going through your mind while you were sitting in this bed? Like, did you still have that concrete mindset, or was it like, all right, starting to settle in like, like,
I had moments where,
self-doubt?
not self-doubt, but I had moments that I was in such pain that I said, Hashem, just take me. I'm good to go. There were tough moments like that, but then you start having images of your family, and you try to look for hope where you can. And one of the things I saw is I saw myself walking down my daughter down the aisle. That gave me constant koach. It gave me constant energy to fight and motivate me. I'm talking about points in times where I couldn't lift my arm. I couldn't lift my turn my head was a workout.
You had a lot of time alone with your thoughts.
Yes, definitely.
What was that like?
When you face a moment where I think that at one point, I guess most of our lives, we never think of death. We think we're going to live forever, or we don't really think of that something being actual. At least I didn't. I think most people don't. But when something like that approaches you and you say, hey, this is something that can't happen, you start to have clarity on what matters and what doesn't matter. What's real and what's not. What do you care about and what you don't care about? What gave me confidence at the time, and I wasn't, I'm going to say something maybe a little bit deep, but I had a realization where after I woke up from the ventilator, I was hallucinating. I had a lot of hallucinations. I was seeing things, I was feeling things. I was awake, and my mind was in different places. I felt a separation of body and soul. I felt that the body was one thing and then the soul was another. I was able to feel the soul outside the body. And I felt that the body is something that is temporary and the soul goes on. Life goes on. Like we hear about it, and we hear stories of people who had
out-of-body
experience and went to different worlds. I had it on a very light level. I'm a very spiritual guy. I thought that I would have more than I actually did. But I did have that, and I was able to see and feel that, and that gave me comfort. So that fear of death was eliminated, and I had extreme clarity on everything in life.
And you still live with that clarity, and
it's there, it's stronger at certain times, but once you have it there, you can always tap into it. You can always fall back on it. You can always revert back to that mindset. You still have your ups and downs in life, and that's normal. You can be on 100% of the time, but the more you have that rock that you can go back to and go back to that mindset, it lifts you up immediately.
So, I mean, now fast forward a little bit, you come out of the hospital, you go through your rehab, you're doing well, right? What was it like? Well, I'll give you guys a statistic, but 8 out of 10 people that beat cancer or beat this disease report a 100% spike in quality of life, whether it's emotional, like quality of life, just report an overall sense of belonging, less fear. Did you feel how did you feel after you came out of this?
So there's a little bit of trauma, understanding what you went through. And again, I lived a life where I was the healthiest guy most people knew.
Yeah.
So for me to go through this, and myself, because I was always conscious of what I ate, I was always training, I was always in a good mindset.
Yeah, I remember that. You were very into health, food. I remember amongst our family and friends, just to cut you off, it was like, when we found out, we all got scared. Because if
no one's safe.
Yeah, if he's our toughest soldier, if he got hit, we're screwed. Because I remember you went organic a lot, and just how you were in shape, right? I mean, it was scary. It was just wow, this is crazy. How could this happen?
So what was life like after?
So I'm still in life after. What I did, one of my greatest realizations going through it is Hashem is in control of everything. And we've seen, in the last events of the last week or so, everything is in the hands of Hashem. And when you have that belief that God puts you in the situation of where you need to be, and you accept that with complete certainty, you no longer have stress. You feel whole. You feel like there's nothing lacking. Like it says in the parasha, when Yaakov and Esav met, Yaakov says, Yesh li kol, I have it all. And that's a new lens that's given to us in life. When you feel like you have it all, you're living a much more peaceful life, as opposed to Esav, where it says, Yesh li rav, I have a lot. But a lot is not what fulfills you. It's when you feel you have it all is what fulfills you. So when you approach life, when you feel you have it all your desires in life will attract to you. When you feel you have money and you're not struggling and running after it, it just attracts to you. When you're married, what do they say? All the good men are taken. When a person's married and he's not looking to attract girls, suddenly he's getting a lot more attention. Why? Because you don't need it. When you feel whole, it's the best way to live life.
So I have a question for you. So you have this mental clarity, right? You have this awakening. You have this, this amuna, that newfound amuna that God runs the world, whatever. So I mean, I think it's a very powerful question. I ask this to a lot of people because it's something in psychology that it's really called inner child, right? It's a very, very powerful form of therapy. So now I'm just gonna tweak it a little bit. If there was 35-year-old Zach or Itzik Nissanov sitting in that chair right over there, okay, living in New York, going up 47th Street, what would you tell him?
I say follow your passion and follow your gut. We say this a lot, but our gut is really our subconscious. It says, Ki b'tzelem Elohim barat adam, God created man in God's image, which means we have a certain godliness in us, which we mostly ignore. We don't connect with that godliness that we have within us because we don't recognize that it's God. But in reality it is. And every time you have a thought, anything that moves you or grabs your attention, go with it. That's it.
Why do you feel like that's the advice you want to give him? Meaning that implies that he already doesn't think that, and now you're enlightening him.
I'm giving strength to that thought process. That go with your intuition.
You felt like he at 35 didn't believe that.
I think that through life we get to recognize ourselves more, and our self-belief and our desires and direction gets stronger within time. And it's time that really gives you that familiarity and connection with yourself to further believe in yourself. But when you understand that believing in yourself is ultimately the success that you will achieve, that's really all you need.
Do you feel like there's something pushing or pulling you against following your gut? Like, why would you tell yourself that at 35?
And what would he tell you back as a rebuttal? What would your 35-year-old self tell this person that's sitting in front of him? Oh, I follow you, God. Like, okay, Shkaya. What would he say back as a defense mechanism?
I think that we all have certain desires to do certain things and to accomplish certain things. I saw something with Elon Musk, not Elon Musk, but Mr. Wonderful. I saw it the other day. He says that Steve Jobs, who he used to work for, had something called signal to noise ratio, which means in an 18-hour period, he would signal out what he needed to do, focus on that, and not stop until he got those few things done. And he had an 80 to 20% signal ratio. The ratio is that there's a lot of noise in the background. There's people grabbing you and trying to direct you in different directions, which pollutes your mind, distracts you. When you're able to eliminate that noise and focus on the signal, on what's in you, and what your desire is, that's the reality and that's the truth. And we only get into it later in life. We understand what we like and what we want and what we don't like.
So I'm saying in a fancy way, you're saying to your 35-year-old self, stop being distracted.
Distraction, yeah, absolutely.
Focus on what's important.
Focus on what's important.
What is important?
So the most important thing in life is unity, family, and Hashem, and recognizing that Hashem runs the world and Hashem is in control, and we're very fortunate to have that. Most important thing in life is having gratitude, appreciation.
It's funny, David said the same thing last week.
Gratitude
like
and
anyone that
appreciation
goes-
to anything and everything around you. For me, anytime I have a day that I'm not as happy as I should be, I said to myself, if you're able to put your feet on the ground, just put your feet on the ground, not even walk. You're able to put your feet on the ground and feel the floor, you're already in a good place.
Funny, David said last week, he's like, I don't have to. I get to. Like people say, I have to go to shul.
Yeah.
I have
Absolutely.
to. He was saying
It's an opportunity.
he was sitting in a hospital bed, which you can relate to, and you have to go to shul. Bro, you're lucky you get to walk. I can't move my neck.
That's really exactly it. And when I was there and I didn't have the opportunity, and I couldn't put my feet on the ground. I remember what that was like. So the fact that I'm able to do it and do it every single day and put my feet on the ground, that already is a blessing on its own, and that makes me happy.
You think that people can get to this realization without going through such experiences, or you think that God does it on purpose to get to that realization and you can't do it without it?
I think you can get it to a certain degree, not to the full capacity. You know, people learn through trial and error. That's what most people. Those who are successful on high levels are able to learn from other people's mistakes. But a lot of us want to experience it on our own blood to be able to attain that mental strength. But once you hear it from me, once you hear it from David, once you hear it from different guys, it has an effect on you. It has an effect that gives you an added level of appreciation. The more you hear it, the more you appreciate it. Because you don't appreciate something until it's gone.
So I want to end on a positive note. What's a message that you would give to people going through this? You know, whether it's now or whatever, but what's a message you would give to people who are going through this now?
Whatever it is you're going through,
Or just going through any hardship, specifically this, but any intense emotional or physical hardship which you went through. I'm saying you were ready to, whatever. You told God already, like, you know what I'm saying? So you've been to the depths of hell, and you're sitting over here in better shape than me. So, what advice would you give someone who's in that place, in that depth? Because you would not only understand it, but you were there. You saw what was on the wall. What would you tell them?
life is full of difficulties and challenges. And the best approach that I found to deal with it, which is one of the greatest elevations in life that one can have if you understand this concept. Anytime you're faced with a difficulty, is because Hashem put you there. Hashem put you there to elevate you to another level. Anytime you're experiencing a difficulty, it's an opportunity to put yourself in a better position, meaning God put me in this difficulty for me to overcome it. And He knows I can overcome it.
Yeah, but it's too hard for me.
That's
Impossible. It's tailor-made just for you.
But I can't handle it.
That's not true. Hashem made it just for you.
Meaning
This
I'm
is
playing
the-
devil's advocate.
No, I'm
Because
saying if you
because
believe, as Rabbi Shlomo says, those who believe have no questions. If you believe that Hashem does everything for your benefit, you see, some people think, oh, you know what? I have to get over this. Getting over this will serve to you as your benefit. This is what you need to do, right? If everything went smoothly in life, you would not have tough, strong people. It's funny, they say tough times create strong men. Strong men create good times create weak men. So you need to have the problems. I don't hope anyone has your problem to that degree, but you know, Rabbi would always say this: in life, you need to change. Hashem will give you a small problem, and if you don't fix it, I'll give you a little bit more stronger till it gets to a point where you're at your breaking point. It's do or die. You gotta just do it. You know, so it's usually a friend, or then there's a wife, and then there's a kid, and they push all your buttons because that mida needs to just change it. And if not, you're gonna have in-laws, and then it keeps going on worse and worse. So
funny.
it's tailor-made. It's not like, oh, this is too hard. I don't know. This is what you need to be someone great.
I was talking to someone years ago, and he was having a very, very hard time emotionally, very hard time. Okay. And he was talking to me, and I remember my Rebbe also Rav Blood used to always say, you know, life is hard. right? If you've ever read Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, the human condition in its essence is that every human is going to suffer, right? The human condition is suffering. Suffering is a part of breathing, right? It's something that we all go through. And I think if anyone wants to read a book that'll change your life, Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, it's about a therapist, a psychologist, pre-World War II, who goes through the Holocaust and concentration camps, documenting his experience as a psychologist. Mind-blowing stuff. Everyone should read it. Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. But he said the root cause and the main thing for human suffering is that every human is going to suffer. Now, what does that mean? Is that, and I remember this guy was talking to me, he's like, and my Rebbe always used to say, life is hard. Life is hard, but hard is good. So, we have this understanding that, so I was talking to someone, the guy was like, well, who says hard is good, right? Because I was telling him hard is good. So he rebuttals to me, who says hard is good? So I asked him a question, okay? And it was a little bit of more of like a practical question. I said, let me ask you a question. You're really good at NBA 2K, right? The guy says, yeah. He says, when you play the computer, what difficulty do you put them on? The guy starts laughing.
I already know who you asked this to.
Guy starts laughing. He's like, I put on Hall of Fame. I said, why? Put on Rookie and beat them 150-2.
Love the analogy.
Beat them 150-2. Why are you giving yourself a hard time? The guy starts laughing because through the hardship and through the suffering, through the tests and adversity, right? You beat Hall of Fame, there's accomplishment. There's importance. There's gratitude to yourself. There's strength building. There's character building, right? There's all these things. Beating them on Rookie does absolutely nothing other than waste your time for 40 minutes because you could score 180 points with James Harden.
So I think Michael Jordan said this, your favorite basketball player. He said, I would purposely play people I knew I would lose to just to get better. He came in as a third overall pick. He wasn't the GOAT when he came in, but he said, I would purposely put myself in a situation I knew I was going to lose, so one day I'll beat them, which is crazy.
Closing statements, I just have one question for you.
I want to address that question.
Yeah.
When it says in the Mishnah, "Be'al kochacha," you live against your will. And I felt that. Because at one point I said, hey, I'm out. Hashem, I'm out. And I didn't really have that option because I'm still here, right? I mean, thank God. But it's exactly what you said. Anytime you approach a difficulty, it's an opportunity for you to elevate yourself because that's where the growth happens. So when you hit that difficulty or challenge, take it in. Don't avoid it. Don't ignore it. Enjoy it. Love it. Embrace it. Understand it. And that's where you grow. Because if you're able to get over that challenge, that's when you elevate your reality. So the greatest thing about it is to be thankful to God. Because like a child to a father, when the child thanks God, or the child thanks the father for any difficulty that he had, or even for being punished. Thank you, Dad, for punishing me because I know through this punishment I'll have a better life. I'll be better. I'll be a better student. When you're able to look at God and have that type of relationship with Him, He'll constantly continue to give you and make you better. In my toughest times when I was in the hospital and I couldn't move, when I wasn't in excruciating pain, I'd look up to God and I said, thank you. I said, thank you, God, for putting me in this position because ultimately I know this is for my benefit. And once I get through this, I have a lot of great accomplishments and a lot of great things that await me once I recover and once I get out of here. So my mind was already thinking.
Looking into the future.
Now, when you go through these challenges, appreciate them. Say, Hashem, thank you for giving me this challenge. And now your outlook is different. Now the challenge is no longer something that is dragging you down. It's something that you're looking to overcome and grow from.
Wow.
So these challenges really are something that that we should
create you.
It's a gift. It's a gift. Tom Brady said in Man in the Arena that the greatest things in my life are my hardships. All the bad things that happened to me are the greatest things that ever happened to me. Because if not for those things, I wouldn't be who I am today.
I mean, if it builds you, but sometimes it breaks you, and we have a bunch of heroin addicts sitting outside Roosevelt.
Well, it's your mindset also. If you're complaining about the hardship, it's gonna break you. You're gonna fold in 1 second. If you feel like, hey, this is not for me, God, why God, right? Which is a big question. I guess we didn't ask you. Did you ever feel that? Why me? God, why? Like, why? Like,
So,
this is too much.
At one point, I did feel that. That was, and I had like a third stint that I was hospitalized for. But going through it, I didn't care for the why. I thought that this was happening for me, to bring me to a different position, to a different reality, to recognize what my purpose is in life, and how do I take action on it. So I knew that this was a doorway into a new position, a new outlook, and fulfill my purpose in life. I felt I needed to go through that to be able to attain what the future holds.
Wow. So I just want to close on a positive question or a funny question. It's a very personal question. LeBron, Jordan, or Kobe?
So,
And there's really only one answer, and it's not Jordan, but you can answer whatever you want.
so my only answer to that is Jordan.
Hey, you're wrong, but what you can.
Maybe wrong.
I think it's Jordan too.
There's no question about it. There's no
LeBron
question
has
about it.
longevity award, but what Jordan did in his top 5 years, LeBron did not do in his top 5 years.
No, to do what Jordan did in his frame and when you didn't grow up in the Jordan era. When Michael Jordan had the ball, all eyes was on the screen. When LeBron has the ball, it's not hard for him to score. He's bigger than any guy in the court. He can take it in. Not taken away from LeBron. LeBron is one of the greatest all time. No question
athletes
about it.
ever.
No question about it. But Michael Jordan was something special. Michael Jordan was a different level. And when he played, the average NBA player was ranked at a 5. He was at a 10. He was just outstanding, far beyond any other player that was on the court. His mindset is actually what made him. And I don't think that there's superiority to what MJ was on the court.
So you pick Jordan. I personally pick LeBron, but we can agree to disagree. Thank you for coming, Itzik, Zach,
Been a pleasure.
Nissanov. Very powerful, very, very powerful. If anybody watching this, if something inside you didn't change, move, evoke any emotion, please see your local emergency room. Thank you guys. Have a great Shabbat.